Hi everyone, today we're going to be learning about match cuts. So first of all, we're going to create a new video. We're going to insert a first piece of video in because Capcut doesn't let us have an empty timeline. So add that in, okay, and then our first introductory image is there because we're going to be doing this about parkour, okay, and the first thing we're going to do is insert a piece of audio. So go to audio, sound, and then we're going to search for a piece of audio. In this case, I'm going to go for Let's Go Music. And there's the piece of music. Now we can preview that by touching it, but I know what this piece of music is like, so I'm just going to add it by pressing the plus sign at the side. Okay, and there we are. It's on the timeline, and it's at the start of the timeline because that's where our playhead was positioned. So we're doing match cut, which is where we match the beats of the music to the cuts on the screen. So basically, it changes clip when we hit a beat. Now in order to do that, what we're going to do is use the beats function of Capcut. So we're going to go down to the bottom. Once we've selected our piece of footage by touching it, and then we're going to touch beats on the bar at the bottom. So we touch beats, and here we can see the waveform of the music. Now you can move through that waveform by going left to right. You can even play it.
Let's go.
Now, what we can do is zoom in on the waveform, and we can see the high points, which are likely the beats. And we could add a beat using the Add Beat button to every one of those high points at the frequency that we would like. However, that is time consuming. So what we're actually going to do is use the auto generate function. So we're going to tap that over on the left hand side, and here we go. Now you can see that it has added a number of dots, and each of those is recommended beats for beat locations for this intensity. Now at intense, we have lots of beats that you can see, or we can drop it down. Okay, we now have less beats. And once again, now we can go right the way down to light, and we have very few beats. So those points that you see are the points that we would cut, those little dots beneath the waveform. So I'm going to go for I would say this around the middle, okay? And then I am going to accept that. So I'm going to look at how long it takes between each of those beats. So that looks 1 second, 2 seconds, roughly 3 seconds, 4 seconds. So as you can see here, we have our initial piece of video and we have our audio. And you can see the beat markings along the bottom as the small white marks. So what we're going to do first is shrink down the size of our initial clip so it's just to 1 second. We're going to do that by touching the clip and pulling the end of it. And then the time will come down to 1 second, roughly, and then it will be the same size as our first beat marker. Okay, now we're going to choose to use every third beat marker because we want our clips to be roughly 3 seconds long. So what we're going to do is we are going to insert a empty piece of video, a piece of essentially very boring video, and we are going to cut it into sections, and then we are going to replace sections of that. So I'm going to add the piece of boring video. Close the gallery, and there you are, you can see it. So now we can see the piece of boring video. We now just need to cut it up. So we're going to select it, and we're going to move to the third beat marker. And there we are. So that means we're going to get 3-second clips. Now the reason we're going for the third is that we know that when I'm working with parkour, it takes time in order for a person to run, jump and land. So I think 3 seconds is roundabout right. So we're going to use 3 beat markers at a time. So I'm going to do a split now at 3 seconds. And then 3 seconds again. And I'm going to keep doing that until I've done the whole timeline, up to as far as I want it. So I'm going to go up to about 20 seconds. You can see along the top the time marker. So 18. And so we're getting a whole clip in. We're going as far as roughly 21 seconds. So now I'm going to delete the end portion of that video by selecting and pressing the delete button. I'm going to do the same with the audio as well by selecting it, splitting it and pressing delete. Okay, so now we have made the splits that we need. And every 3 seconds on the beat, we're going to jump to a new clip. So what we're going to do now is going to start replacing these clips. So we'll touch one of them, touch our first one, and we're going to hit replace. Okay, so now we're going to choose our first piece of parkour video. And here we go. So we've got 2.9 seconds for this clip. So we need to choose the best bit of the clip to go into it. So this is the piece which will be inserted. Now I'm going to do the same again. Select the clip I wish to replace, tap replace on the bar at the bottom, and then choose another clip. I'm going to choose which piece of the clip that I want. I'm going to make sure it's full of action. And there we go. I'm going to keep doing that until my timeline has completely replaced the boring video. And there we are. We've completed our sequence and we can now watch our beat matched video.
Let's go.
So the very last trick to personalize it yourself and to get rid of the nasty Capcut advertising, we'll select it, that ending piece, and tap delete. Thank you, I hope you enjoyed this video. Now, something you have to consider is how long the piece of Hi there. Yeah. Yeah. Front of the salon, like literally by the, you know, the front PC, the front of house PC. Okay. Next to that, you've got where you normally place your laptop. That's where I placed it. Yeah. Yeah, no, I put it there. If not, I mean, John might have moved it while he was using it for doing exams. Just in case I've been insane, I'll just check my bag, but I don't think so. I'm not that insane. If not, I'll come down and help look. Yeah. Yeah, no, I haven't got it. No, I definitely haven't got it. I mean, I'm not even suggesting that I would have it, really. So it's yeah. Yeah, but I mean that was where I put it. Was that first those trolley things, whatever they're called, the hair trolley things. It was on top of the first one of those. Yeah, because that's your place. Okay, if not, I'll come down and help. Yeah, that's the irony of it, but it's still fucking annoying from your perspective. If not, tell me and I'll buy another one. If you can't find it by the end of the day, I'll buy another. Well, I know I agree, but then where's your laptop charger?